What's up, sailors? What's up, fans and friends? This is Fossil Fool coming at you from San Francisco Bay. This video is going to show you two different sailing outings that were heavier conditions, big chop, big wind, and not always full control, especially on some of the downwind sailing that you'll see. And I wanted to ask some of the experienced balanced lug sailors out there, and including the designer of this boat, Ross Lilystone, who I'm going to share this video with, what they think of the things that were happening during the downwind sailing. So you'll see that too. But basically, thank you guys for following along and for your positive response to the First Mod Sea Trials video. And here's a follow-on to show you what it's been like out here in the full-on summertime conditions out in San Francisco Bay. Clicking in the camera, we are leaving the Berkeley Sailing Basin, leaving the safety of a calmer body of water and heading to Angel Island. I had checked the wind that day and it was supposed to be around 8 to 10, but I'm going to start using a different wind sight because the wind was closer to 20-25 when we were actually crossing the main channel, and it was causing large wind waves, lifting up the boat and smacking us down on a lot of them, which is why I would normally choose a different tack if I were just out for a nice sail, but today we wanted to get to Angel Island. I was crossing a lot of them diagonally, which is the direction that we were heading, but if I saw a big one on the horizon, then I would turn and try to square up to it. Amazingly, this huge wave doesn't actually put any water into the boat, but it does stall us out, and it takes me a moment to get back up to speed. During the crossing, the wind was so high that I wasn't trying to access the full power of the wind, which is why you'll see the boom trembling there. The sail was luffing quite a lot. I was trying to cheat upwind, just trying to maintain some forward speed and get to Angel Island without too much danger of heeling over. The next skill that I really want to practice, which I've never even tried, is how to reef the sail once I'm out in severe conditions. Because the conditions change. You know, in Berkeley it was beer drinking time. Now we're out in the middle and we're both cold, and Joey's like, when is this going to be over? You know, I want to get there. And I want to get there too. We're finally now getting to some calmer conditions, and I'm letting her rip a little bit more because I'm not as scared. We're smiling and things are good, and we made it almost to the safety of Angel Island.
Come on. Going towards you. Oh!
Go back for it. I'm serious.
How do I do that?
Jibe.
Push hard this way?
No, pull hard towards you. And the boom's going to come over, okay. And let it cross and get your body underneath it. And keep pulling this so that we can keep. They say in the sailing books that you're supposed to practice your man overboard skills. One of the missions of the first mods, we have to pick up trash in the bay. I like to do that by picking up trash that I see. Keep it from messing with this beautiful marine ecosystem that we're so fortunate to have. Putting together the split apart oars takes an extra moment to get ready for rowing, but they stow a lot more compactly this way. Here you're going to see us approaching our first beach landing. You'll hear me expressing concern 3 separate times about not wanting to run aground.
Just gotta make sure we don't run aground. The very first beach landing.
I raised the centerboard, which is fine because I'm rowing, and I had Joey undo the downhaul and the rudder so that if it started hitting the sand, it would just fold up.
I don't want to do this with too much speed and scrape up my nice beautiful first mod hull.
The sail wasn't doing much, so I didn't think to lower it.
I'm almost thinking like...
Once the centerboard's up, then you don't have any lateral control if a gust does come. So here you see the boat kind of start to gather some speed. And there's a mild gust now that comes and twists us around. And I just kind of stare at the rock. Oh! Kind of embarrassing, but educational. And fortunately, it didn't cause any gouges in the precious translucent G10. I think I hit the lottery and it smacked into my Kevlar reinforced keel runner that runs the whole length of the boat. And here we're using the dock fenders to jack it up a little bit so it doesn't scrape on the pebbles. I'm going to try to zoom in and show our picnic. The salad eating. Take a scoop of the salad. Oh yeah. Full-on picnic status. One thing that you can say about the first mod is it has a lot of carrying capacity. We were able to have a full-on picnic here on beautiful Angel Island. Look at this. Former military base.
The site of a lot of Asian American discrimination.
The hope is that by waiting just a little bit here for the peak winds to die down while we eat, that we'll have a little bit less stressful crossing going home. And the other plan is to head the closest way to the other side of the bay, which is to head to Richmond right away and then turn south to get home to Emeryville versus heading in a straight line. And we'll see if it works. And then the other thing is we're planning to reef the sail just a little bit. So I know that the surf is still big over there.
Oh!
Oh man. With our useful daylight dwindling, the time is now. Joey rows us away from the wind shadow of Angel Island and we head back into it. On this vector you can see the sail is out nice and full. And as the wind is increasing, I'm feeling pretty confident in heading more or less towards our destination because the wind had dropped quite a bit. Still having to negotiate the waves which are coming crosswise now. Not taking nearly as much water aboard. Fairly stress-free crossing. Which is amazing because Angel Island used to be a destination that I just wouldn't get the gumption to do, and now I feel like I can bust it out. There were still some gusts on the return crossing. Here's one where I actually steer into the wind to depower. That's my go-to method when I get a little bit spooked by a gust. And now we're back on course. Sail's nice and full. We're able to talk, not too cold, and we are under control. So this is a good sail. This is like my favorite kind of sail. And after the wind drops even more, it's time for Joey to get a chance to skipper the first mod and improve his sailing. Great wind for teaching my buddies how to sail a small boat.
How was the sail today, Paul?
Oh, funny you should ask, Joey. It was a hell of a sail. Very big chop. Very big wind. As usual, Willy weather predicted something completely unreliable, 8 miles an hour, and then it ended up being probably more like 25. And I would say the highlight was picnicking. That was so cool, having a real picnic on dry land and accessing a spot that only you can access by water.
With a boat.
I'm really glad we made it safely, basically, because there were some sketchy moments.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I got splashed in the face.
Yeah, and I can take a little video too of you, just so there's a context that just shows that we're both doing it. See, there's the food bag. That was a hell of a picnic. Let's get back to some big wind and big chop in the first mod. Finn and I leaving Emeryville Marina, both wearing wetsuits, both ready for some pretty big conditions. Boat's pretty tidy, nicely packed, everything's tied in. You can see the trailer wheels there in the bow, and here we go. I think we were out in about 16 to 18 knots. When I was researching plans, I first purchased the plans for the Dudley Dix RG15, which is a very similar boat, a little bit wider, broader in the beam, I guess you'd say in sailing jargon, and then settled on the Ross Lillystone First Mate and chose to scale it up, and we ended up scaling it 12%. And both designers say in their descriptions and also in email correspondence with Ross, the RG15 is a very dry boat, or the First Mate is a very dry boat. And I just have to say, I don't know what they're talking about, because I'm now wearing a wetsuit every single time I go sailing. And is it that things aren't as choppy in other parts of the world? I can't figure it out. I'm constantly getting sprayed upon if it's like stronger than 12. And Finn is doing an incredible job making it through this former ferry pier. And we did this all in one tack, and normally I have to tack 2 or 3 additional times to get to this point upwind. So it feels like the increased wind helped us go upwind better, because the direction is usually about the same. Alright, first captain change there. Pretty easy to change a captain at speed without losing too much forward momentum. That was a win. We had several good ones. Fantastic conditions. At the edge of what is enjoyable, because it really does require a lot of physical effort and mental focus, and you don't get a break. But we never felt like we were about to eat it, at least on the upwind leg. I love the feeling when you hit the wave just right and you slide off the backside and there's no big bash and it just flows. It's a lot of fun actually being out in these waves. It's intense, it's physical, but when you get in the rhythm of it, it's funny that I would be saying that at that moment. Now the sun's coming out. We're having a good old time. One question I had for the other dinghy sailors is, taking a look at the speed here, is this what planing is? Are we planing? And how do you know? And what difference does it even really make? We actually stayed relatively warm, and we were out for 2.5 hours in this kind of intense conditions and didn't get too cold, so that's good. We sailed almost all the way to the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. That was the furthest north I've ever sailed. We were well into Richmond by the time we tacked. Pretty satisfying, and it does feel like on the right day I could make it through the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. Tacking back towards the city, and there you can see the Golden Gate Bridge from between Tiburon and Angel Island. That's cool. Another captain change. Nice. Alright, so now we're doing the downwind leg, and this is where I could really appreciate some tips from the other balanced lug sailors and dinghy sailors out there. And here you see Finn moving his body weight forward, trying to stay toes on the nose, as they say in surfing. Ooh, this one twisted us around. And that's the thing that I need help on. It actually took quite a lot of tiller force to pull the rear of the boat back towards our heading. Here you can see our heading. It's the white building right there. And I'm pulling hard to get us back on it just in time for a nice surge. But look at that. It was fun and hairy. And to be honest, I've started avoiding downwind sailing after this outing. Note that the tiller is like towards me, but the boat isn't turning, and I was just wondering why does that happen, because at the same moment it's pulling hard against my hand. And then also you gotta see the angle of the boom and how high it lifts, and that makes me really nervous when I'm captaining on the downwind leg. Now, I've corresponded with Ross on this already by email. He told me to take a close look at the downhaul, and in these clips you can see that the downhaul is too far forward and not that taut. So I've responded by strengthening the boom, adding a layer of carbon, and by moving the downhaul back, and by adjusting the position of the fiddle so that I can really crank the downhaul. But I still haven't tested it because I'm nervous. And I feel like the downhaul is only part of the story. You can also see that it has to do with just how I use my body and how I'm holding the main sheet. There are these little flips of the boom that happen when I shift my weight and then I need to bring the sheet in. Boom 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 boom. Boom 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 boom. Boom 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 boom. The boat speed is kind of low, and then we get pushed around. You can see it's kind of hard for us to keep our heading. We're getting twisted around right here. It's like the wave wants us to be parallel to it. Getting a little bit of help with the main sheet from Finn. I'm trying to figure out how I would do this quicker. Now it gets interesting. We pick up some speed and see the white water there. And I'm trying to get back to the heading. And now this wave just lifts us to the heading. And I'm trying to stay on the heading. You can see what I'm doing with the tiller, but we're now back off the heading. I'm a little scared, and plus it just requires a lot of tiller force, and we need a little bit of forward speed, and I'm looking for the right moment. I'm thinking maybe if we just keep sailing forward towards the cranes on the horizon, then we could do some downwind tacking, and I wouldn't have to go purely downwind. Well, that's as far as the GoPro went that day, and I look forward to reading any of the tips and thoughts that you want to take the time to share. As always, please do help me along on YouTube by clicking the stuff down there, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you.